What's the one thing that you do to avoid judgment, to avoid people talking about you behind your back, to avoid being misunderstood? Drop it in the comments below. I'll ask that question again later on. People pleasing blocks your blessings. It violates the first commandment and the second commandment. And it is one of the main reasons that a lot of chosen apex humans who are here to bring heaven to earth are not fulfilling their mission, not living their best life now, and feel very frustrated with existence. And so by the end of today's video, we want to have 5 ways that you can break free of that. I love the number 5 because it is my birthday number. But anyway, people pleasing blocks God's blessings. So today we're going to talk about the 5 reasons God is not pleased with people pleasing. So if you stress about what others think so much that you don't do, that you end up doing things that you don't want to do, or perhaps you don't do the things you do want to do, so that you can stop them from feeling bad or upset or talking about you behind your back, this video is for you. If you want more clarity, composure, courage, then you have to let go of people pleasing. You've got to let go. I'm reading my notes here. By the end of today's videos, you'll know how to overcome the anxiety and stress that comes from people pleasing. It's not something that you have to live with, but we're going to talk about like why we people please. There's nothing necessarily wrong with people pleasing. Again, this is an apex human approach. This is a spiritually mature approach to everything. There are no things that are objectively evil or wrong. There is an objective morality. Okay, it does exist. But when it comes to things like people pleasing, it's just a matter of what do you want from life? Do you want a life that is filled with clarity and composure and beauty and power and flow and influence? Do you want to be impactful? Do you want to love people genuinely? Do you want to be your natural self? Or do you want to just cater to people's feelings that are transient, feelings that change from moment to moment? Often we stop ourselves from achieving our dreams, loving others fully, leaving toxic relationships, and taking the necessary risks that will lead us to what we want. We do that because of what others might think or might say about us when we're not around. Doing this leads to a chronic dissatisfaction in life, and it stifles God's mission for you. You end up living a life that is very unfulfilled. Okay? So, hello, Katie Griggs. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about people pleasing. What's the number one thing that you do, Katie, to make sure that people feel okay about you? What's the one thing that you do to avoid being talked about, or to avoid maybe people misunderstanding you? What's the number one thing that you do that you want to stop? Let me know in the comments below, and we're going to talk about how you can overcome that. So the talents that God has given you, the gifts, the favor, the blessings, they rot away in a graveyard of self-doubt, anxiety, and people-pleasing. And we've got to stop that. So by the end of today's video, you're going to know how to. Excellent. You said be nice. Being nice is definitely toxic in a lot of ways because it is pretentious. It's not genuine. It's not loving. Okay? And so I understand that. So I'm going to talk about why do we even people please? Okay? So people pleasing comes from our socialization. We have been taught to be, so humans can be, I've worked in many little schools with children and stuff like that over the years. And the thing about children, that I call them little human-shaped animals, because that's what they are. They're human-shaped animals. They're not actually fully human yet. They're not fully domesticated. They're not domesticated yet. Okay, let's put it that way. They're not house-trained. Okay, that's why they wear diapers and things like that. And they're beautiful, wonderful creatures. And Jesus said to look at what they're doing and learn from that flow, learn from that naturalness and authenticity. Now, they do have to mature, and they do have to, not punch people in the face when they don't get the toy that they want or the car they want or whatever, right? As an adult, you do have to mature. But there's an authenticity, a naturalness with children that God is speaking to when Jesus says the children, pay attention to what the children are doing, because those are the people that enter the kingdom first. Those are the people that God loves and cherishes, people that are like children. So why do we people please? We people please because we were taught at a very rudimentary age to be nice to people around us, because when you're very little and someone takes your toy and you don't like that, and you feel anger inside of your body, you're smart, you're intelligent, you express that anger. And that may come out as screaming, that may come out as crying, that may come out as punching another kid in the face. Now that's intelligent, right? That is intelligent, because it's saying, I have this energy to control what happens in my life. What just happened to me was something I didn't want. And so because I do not have the words to get what I want, I'm going to use whatever power I have. It's screaming, it's hitting, it's running, it's crying, and that's what children do. But children are able to move that negative energy out of their body and through their body, and as a result, they stay young and soft and beautiful. Obviously, they eventually get old like us, but children are very resilient as a result, mentally, emotionally, because they deal with anger and pain and frustration and sadness and disappointment in the moment, and they move on. But we're taught not to do those things because it's embarrassing to our parents. Our parents don't want the people to think, oh, they're uncivilized animals and their children are uncivilized. And so what they do is they tell us to shut down our ability to express honestly and naturally. Okay. And so as a result, we become nice. We people please. We look around at what people are doing and we worry about what they're going to say and what they're going to think. And that kills our blessings. It kills our mission in life. And it makes us weak, useless, unchosen people when we are actually children of the Most High God. And so today, we want to talk about the 5 traps and the 5 escapes from those traps, the 5 solutions that help you to crush people pleasing immediately. All right. Ramesh says, yes, bro. Thank you, Ramesh, for that. And Ramesh also says, bye, bro. Also, if you're in the chat, let me know the one thing that you do that's people-pleasing that crushes your spirit, that causes you to feel terrible. All right. So first limitation that a lot of people buy into that causes them to people-please is the trap of what will they think? That's the first trap. It's a little belief. What will they think? First of all, when you're going to do something in life that really speaks to your spirit, like, I decided to leave nursing when I was in undergrad because I wanted to do global studies in foreign languages. I could speak many languages very easily. I was very good at it. So why not do something that I loved? But there were people that were my caregivers that were like, hey, look, you should stay in this field because it's a great job. You're always going to have a job. You always have money. You want to kill yourself every freaking day of your life, but you're going to have a job. You're going to be able to pay for all the therapy that you need because you're doing a job 12 hours a day that you hate because of whatever, right? So I eventually had to break free. But before I did that, the thing that was holding me back was the thought, what will they think? I was very fortunate. My dad was very supportive of me taking that leap and moving into a field that served my soul, that spoke to my calling in life. And so the question of what will they think is a hypothetical unknown. We do not know what other people are thinking. So if you're asking yourself, well, if I go and do this thing that God has for me to do, what will my mother think? What will my cousins think? What will my sister and friends and brother and friends think? What will they think? It's an hypothetical unknown. You don't know what they'll think. They don't even know what they're going to think. They may tell you, I think that you shouldn't do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They don't know. Just go do it. Especially if you're not like, okay, I'm going to go hurt somebody. That's different, right? We're all intelligent here. We're not that kind of person. But wondering what other people will think when you say a thing that's truly on your heart, when you're honest about something or you're truly yourself, it paralyzes yourself. It paralyzes you and it stops you in your stride toward your goals and dreams. So that doesn't just apply to your goals and dreams. That applies to like, okay, I'm in the store and this is really attractive lady and I think she's pretty and I want to tell her that and I want to talk to her and perhaps get her number and take her out on a date. Well, guess what? What if she thinks I'm a creep? You don't know what she's thinking. You don't know. She doesn't even know what she's thinking. Okay? So who knows what they're going to think? Perhaps they'll love that you talked to them and told them you thought their eyes were beautiful, or maybe you decided to go for the dream job that you wanted to, and that, challenges your partner, whatever. Maybe they'll love it. Maybe they'll hate it. We don't know. Who cares? It's irrelevant. If God has called you to do something in life, if there is a joy and a passion that comes up in you, an enthusiasm for it, and you don't go for it because you're wondering what they might think, then you're paralyzing yourself. So it's highly likely that the people that you're worried about aren't even thinking. They don't care. They will tell you one thing, but they really don't care. They're just saying that just because they are hungry, they want to go get a sandwich. They just want to get you out of their face. They don't know. And it's irrelevant. A lot of times you go for the thing that you want, you say the thing to that lady you like, or you say the thing to that guy you like, or whatever, and they respond to you in a way you never expected. There's so many times there have been women I thought were very attractive. I went and talked to them, say, hey, like, I like you, I think you're pretty, whatever. And at first I was like, oh, whatever. I think she's busy. She looks like she's upset or whatever. I don't care. I don't know what she's thinking. I'm just going to do what I need to do. All right. The solution to the thought of what will they think if I do this, or if I say this, or if I'm myself, is to be your best natural self. So anytime you have that little thought, what will they think if I be your best natural self? That means be the best you that you know to be. Let everything else go. Outsiders don't know your heart. God knows your heart. God knows your heart. Let him decide if you need to change. God will tell you. And it's not going to be a booming voice from the ethers from a bearded sky phantom. That's not God. It's going to come up from within you. God knows your heart. Other people don't. Do the best that you can do to be who you are. Just do that and keep going, and God will take care of all the rest. So there's a big difference between worrying about what other people think and choosing to be respectful and have integrity. Now, there are a lot of times that we might get that mistaken or mixed up or confused. And we might say, okay, if I'm being nice to these people, then that's people pleasing. And a lot of times it is. Most times it is. But if being nice actually means being respectful, having integrity, well, then that's very different. Because now you're just respecting yourself. You're respecting yourself by having integrity and being respectful. But that has nothing to do with people pleasing. Because when you think about it, like, I'm a respectable person, and I am a person of integrity, and I'm a person of honor who's worthy of having a positive impact on the world. I'm worthy of being that positive, powerful force in the world. Well, guess what? You get to do that. And so there's a big difference between worrying about what other people think and actually having respect and integrity. So that is the first limitation, and that's the first solution to that limitation. If you just join, tell me what is the one thing that you do to please other people that gets in the way of your life, that gets in the way of your joy, that gets in the way of your peace? Let me know in the comment section below. All right. The second limitation that stops people, so a limiting belief, a limiting thought, is this. What if they think I'm fill in the blank? That's the second thought. Let's go back to I go talk to this girl. I think she's really attractive. What if she thinks I'm creepy? Well, guess what? Remember that thoughts thoughts are like a vortex in a way that creates anxiety and slows you down or speeds you up and leaves you where you want to go. And so, if you're worried about what other people think, like if you say, what if they think I'm mean? What if they think I'm greedy, racist, bad, lazy, stupid, sinful, whatever? Again, they don't know anything about you. This goes back to number one a bit, and that's your parents included. So if you say, your parents say, hey, there's this great college. It's in town. It's a good school. It's highly rated. Lots of famous people come to the school, and it's in town, and it's close to home, and you'll be able to stay with us, Katie. And then, Katie. And then you say, I actually want to go to Colorado State, or I want to go out of state. I want to go to a university across the seas, whatever. And like, oh, and you can see the pain in their eyes and the sadness. And you're going to go, what if they think I don't love them? What if they think I don't appreciate them? What if they think I don't whatever, right? What if they think? Well, first of all, they don't know anything about you, and that's your parents included. You were a stranger before you met your parents, and you're a stranger to just about everybody that you know because they don't know what's going on inside your heart. They can read your facial expressions, they can look at your body language, but they don't know what's going on in your heart. This goes back to number one. Only God knows your heart ultimately. And they often don't know what they think. Okay. This sounds like a lot like number one, but the solution is different. The solution is when you're wondering about, like, okay, what if they think that I'm one way? Or what if they think I'm bad or mean or unkind? Then the best solution to that is to honor your spiritual time. Cleanse yourself of that thought. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, all of those things are your spiritual time. That's something no one else has any business doing anything with. No one can influence your thoughts. No one can influence your emotions. No one can influence your beliefs unless you give them permission. And so if you're worrying about what they think about you, you are wasting your spiritual energy and time. That same energy can be used to fulfill God's mission for you in this world, to fulfill your desires, to live a beautiful life, to love yourself first and other people in the highest way possible. So when you start honoring your spiritual time, you're going to start to notice that you have far more energy, far more confidence, far more joy in your life. So if you're worried about what will others think if I do this, or what if they think, excuse me, that was the first one. What if they think I'm mean? What if they think I'm racist? What if they think I'm bad or lazy or whatever? If you're worrying about that, you're wasting your spiritual time and a spiritual emotion, your emotions. So stop doing that. Understand that you must honor your spiritual time. If you're worried about that, it's taking away from your life force. Okay. The third limitation that causes you to people please and destroys your blessings is this limitation based on the question, how will they feel if I do, be, and have what I truly want? How will, let's say you're in a relationship, and I'm gonna use a lot of examples here, but let's say you have a bunch of friends, okay, and everybody wants to go out for pizza, but you want Chinese cuisine, and you don't want to upset the apple cart. And you say, well, I really want Chinese tonight. Everybody's like, oh, we'll go out for pizza. Everyone wants pizza. We'll all go for pizza. You say, I want Chinese so much, I'm going to catch you guys later. I'm going to go get some Chinese. Now, that's the best thing to do in that situation. You can get your Chinese and meet them up at the pizza parlor, whatever. But a lot of people will say, okay, I'll just go for pizza. Because they're saying, well, how will they feel if I get Chinese? They're going to feel like I'm standing out. They're going to feel like I'm trying to be somebody, something, whatever. Again, there's this question of how will they feel if I accept what God has for me? It goes to a bigger thing. Like, okay, the pizza and Chinese example is small, but what if it's something like, hey, look, I got this girlfriend. We get along really well. I like her a lot, but I get that this is not a long-term thing, and I want something long-term. So now I need to break up with her and go for something long-term. How will she feel if I accept the long-term relationship that God has for me? Or if I accept the career that God has for me? My coworkers, they love me. Okay, I'm going to be straight with y'all, honest with you guys. Very recently in my life, many times in my life, I've had to leave coworkers many times because I knew that my time there was done. And the thing that kept me at that job was the question of how will they feel if I go for what God has for me? Because I'm going to be leaving them behind. I'm going to not be at work. I'm going to be doing something else. And they're going to think whatever, or they're going to feel like whatever. And I realized that if I go for what God has for me, it's irrelevant for what they think. Okay? I can't do anything about how they feel. I can't do anything. If I stayed at the job, they might feel the same way as if I left. It may be irrelevant. I cannot control that. Their feelings are their responsibility. My goal, my destiny is my responsibility. So I don't have any business getting in their business. My only business is to stay on the path that God created for me and go for that. So it's highly possible that people aren't thinking. I'm going to always say that. A lot of times people are they're just existing. Okay. They're not really thinking. You're there one day, the next day you're not there anymore. The day that you were there, they were like, oh my God, I don't want to see you go. You got to stay with us. You're such a great addition to the team. Next day they forgot you even existed. Literally, they're like fish. They have 2-second memory. So it's possible that even if they say, it will hurt me if you leave, it will break my heart, it's possible they're lying. They always keep that in mind. Now, people are honest, but they could be lying. They could be manipulating you. If you stay because you're afraid of how it's going to impact them, or if you stay in the relationship, stay at that job, continue doing the things that hurt your spirit because you're afraid of how they're going to feel about it, and God has a beautiful, amazing life for you over beyond that job, beyond that relationship, beyond that whatever, then, you're doing yourself a great disservice. The solution to this concern of how other people will feel if you go for what God has for you is to invest energy where it counts. You have the greatest impact on your experience when you follow the energy of your spirit. When your spirit is not in something and you're still there, you're going to suffer. You've got to follow the leading of spirit. And I know it's hard, but when you invest energy where it counts, your life flows. It gets scary at times. Like sometimes you're like, oh my God, did I just do that? Like, did I just leave that relationship? Now I'm single and I don't think I'm valuable to anybody. Well, now you got to go through the process of becoming worthy and feeling like loving yourself the way God loves you, But when you invest your energy where it counts, you get rid of that fear of how they feel okay? Because you have no power over how they feel. That's their responsibility. It's not yours, okay? Number 4, okay? There's this limitation that says, if I do be or have what God has for me, they're going to be envious. They're going to be hurt, offended. They're going to be abandoned, isolated, all the above. And I used to have this deep nightmare pain about abandoning the people I love the most. And my fear was around, if I abandon them, the pain that they'll feel, the loss they'll feel, the vulnerability they're going to feel. And what I've realized is that the solution to that is to stay in my spiritual lane. My mission precedes the feelings of those around me. Again, being responsible and having integrity and being respectful are things that pertain to me. They make me a better person. They make it possible for me to feel good about myself. Okay, so I'm going to operate from that frame. But if I am worried about how people feel in response to like me having what God has for me, because there was this thing that I had was like, I was always worried about people being envious if I was wealthy, or people being, because there are things that I've done in life that would just it's the 1% of the 1% does. I have done and played and I've been in spaces and places and done things that only the 1% of the 1% has ever had the privilege of doing. And if I told you guys, one, you wouldn't believe it, and I don't care. But I've had the ability to do that. And I've had friends that I've had to leave behind because they couldn't be a part of that, because they were not welcomed in those spaces. People were like, yeah, don't bring that person. I was like, ugh. But they were like, we want you there, but don't bring that person. And I was like, all right. Ugh. But I did it. And I'm telling you, some experiences. That's all I'm going to say. And they will stay with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I did those things. But all I can say is there are friends that would have felt abandoned if they knew I was doing those things or a part of that. Actually, they did, and they did feel abandoned. But they also would have felt envious. And guess what? Even if they did, it's not my responsibility to decide how they feel about things. It's not my responsibility. So I can't do anything about that. My job is to stay in my spiritual lane. People will get over those negative feelings. They just will. Okay? Trust me. They have to. They don't have any other choice. If they don't, well, then you don't need them in your life anyway. All right? And finally, this is the big one. So if you're here, let me know, what is the one thing you do to people please that just gets in the way of your joy? The one thing that you do to people please, the worst thing to do that really gets in your way here. So finally, the fifth limitation, the fifth lie, or the fifth thing that we tell ourselves that causes us to people please is what they think about me affects me and I don't want to be judged. Or what they think about me has an impact on me. My boss is going to think I'm disrespectful. And then that's going to make it hard for me in this way in ABCDFG. Okay. Well, guess what? Only your thoughts about you have any power over you. Period. I was like, well, if my boss doesn't think I'm a good worker, they're going to give me a bad rating in my review, and then I'm not going to get a raise, and blah, 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 blah. Well, only your thoughts about you matter. Only your thoughts about you matter. Only your thoughts about you matter. Well, my boss's thoughts are going to make it so my job, and then the thing, no, they're not. Because if you worry about that, now that's your thought. But if your boss doesn't like that you're doing that, that's your boss's thought. Your wife's thought, your husband's thought, your kid's thought, your friend's thoughts. Never let other people's thoughts about you become your thoughts about you. They're thoughts that God has about you. Those are the only thoughts you should adopt about you, which you're worthy, you're chosen, you're blessed, you are highly favored, all of that. Let those be your thoughts about you. Don't let anybody else's thoughts become your thoughts about you. Only your thoughts about you matter. That is the solution. Like Jesus said, look at the animals, look at the children, which are human-shaped animals. I love kids so much. But they are human-shaped animals because they are so sincere, they're so natural, they're so what is. They are who they are when you see them. You see a kid, what you see is what you get. Okay? You ever see a cat or a kid, like you give a cat a piece of chicken that they want or a piece of fish. You think the cat's going to go, oh, for me? Oh, no, I couldn't. No, cats don't do that. Children don't do that either. You got a cupcake or a cookie? Here you go, Bobby, little Sally. You think Sally and Bobby are going to go, oh, for me? Oh, no. Oh, no, I couldn't. My weight. No, they just gobble that thing down as quickly as they can stuff it in their face. Cats are the same way. Animals are the same way. God is like that. God is giving us all the things we want in life. And a lot of times we go, oh, me? Oh, no, I couldn't. I don't want to be judged. I don't want people to think bad things about me. I don't want people to think I'm greedy or bad or whatever. Those aren't your thoughts about you. You know yourself. God knows your heart. Stick to that, okay? Jesus said, be like children. Be like the animals. Just relax. Now, again, you have to be discerning when you read that because you're not going to go and just jump on people and punch people and cry and scream in public and poop your pants, okay? Kids and animals do that. Christ is not referring to that, okay? And if you're an apex human, you know that. So in conclusion, in this video, you learned that when we let what others think stop us from pursuing our divine mission, it destroys our lives, okay? But at the end of it all, it's us. If we're worried about what other people think, if we're trying to please people and all of that, it's actually us at the end of the day. It's us doing it to ourselves. So the 5 solutions to this is to be your best natural self. Honor your spiritual time. That means your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs must match up with God's highest for you. If you're an apex human, if you're a child of the Most High God, if you are chosen, you have to allow your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions to match up with God has for you. Match up with what God has for you. The third thing is to only invest your energy where it counts. If you're worried, pardon me, if you're worried, pardon, my screen is freezing up here. If you're worried about how others will feel if you be, do, and have what you truly want, then you are wasting your spiritual energy. That is not what you need to be worrying yourself with. You have a mission here. We are rebuilding God's kingdom on earth. We are rebuilding heaven. And it's the golden age, what we're rebuilding. So we're not here to please the people that are satisfied with the shit age that we're living in. We're not living in the shit age. We're actually in a golden age now. But the dark ages that people have been living in, the poverty and sickness and governmental corruption and the Illuminati and all that lies, all these weird things, those are things that we no longer have to put up with. We don't need any of that anymore. So when we invest our spiritual energy where it counts, we move into a space and a place where our life reflects God's best, and then we shine like the sons of heaven or the morning stars, right? And so that's the third thing. The fourth thing is stay in your spiritual lane. If you're worried about if people will be envious or hurt or offended or abandoned or vulnerable because you get what you want and God gives you what you want and you receive it. If you're worried about those things, you're violating God's law. You're doing what Uzzah did in the book of Samuel, where he put his hands out to catch the Ark of the Covenant and God struck him dead immediately. When you're worried about what other people, oh, my friends are going to be envious if I get rich and I don't give my money to them. My friends are going to judge me and tell me I'm a bad person if I go and get it. If God is pouring all these blessings out into my life and I go and receive them and I get, to have a wonderful life and do all the things I want and travel the world, they're going to feel envious. They're going to come after me. No, they're not. And even if they do, they can't touch you. Okay? You're a child of the Most High God. You're chosen. Don't worry about that. Okay? And if you're not a child of the Most High God, if you're not chosen, that's okay. That's only because you've chosen that. All you got to do is realize that you have a specific mission on this earth. There's beauty that the Creator is pushing through you into this world. And when you people please, you push back at it. You stop it from coming out. So you don't have to do that anymore. You can accept the beauty and the good that God has for you. When I say God, I'm talking about the real God, the Most High God. I'm not talking about the fairy tale phantom creature they teach you in church. I'm talking about the real God, the one that when you have this dream in your heart, you feel a fire in your spirit. That's God speaking to you. That's God speaking through you. Okay. So just let it be. Trust that power, trust that force, and go with it. Okay. Stay in your spiritual lane. And then finally, only your thoughts about you matter. Now, if you forget everything else, think about this. If you're worried about what other people are judging you and thinking about you, you're not worried about that. You're worried about the fact that you are going to adopt those judgments. You're going to start thinking those thoughts because nobody's thoughts about you matter. Not the police, not the state, not the government, nobody. None of that matters if it doesn't affect you. And if you don't believe me, think about people that are neurodivergent. Do you think they care that they're stimming? They're doing this? You think they're going, oh, what will people think? Some probably do, but ultimately, they have to do that to calm themselves down, whatever their stemming form is, right? Think about think about children. And go back to the cat and children. Like if you give a cat a piece of fish and they want the fish, the cat never goes, oh no, I couldn't dare. No, when people do that, if you offer them something they obviously want, and then they go, oh no, I could never. They're lying. They're just doing that so you don't judge them. And you see like an overweight girl, like she's not morbidly obese. Let's say she is morbidly obese, right? And there's a piece of cake, and she clearly wants that cake, and you're cutting slices and you're handing it to people. And she goes, oh, for me? Oh, no, I couldn't. Come on, lady. Relax. We know what you want. Even if we don't know what you want, it's irrelevant what we think. Like, what you think about yourself is what really matters. So whoever you are, if you're watching this and you have a dream in your heart, you have a desire in your heart, understand that your thoughts about you matter. Only your thoughts about you matter. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to embrace the good that God has for us. There's so much good for us in this world. And God is pouring it out. I'm talking rushing rivers, torrents, floods of goodness, floods of abundance, floods of favor. And it's pouring out of my life all the time. All the time. Like all I have to do is open up the tap just a little bit more than I have. And I keep doing it and I keep getting more and more and more and more and more and more and more. It keeps coming my way. And that's why I share these videos with you guys, because I'm getting better and better every day. I just had a call with a mentor today that like really was a blessing. It really opened up a beautiful path for me. And so often we stop ourselves from getting what we want in life or going for our dreams. We stop ourselves from loving other people fully. We stop ourselves from leaving toxic relationships or taking the risks we need to take because we're worried about what other people will think about us. What other people think about us is irrelevant. And it truly, truly is. Now, like I said, only your thoughts about you matter. And if you are adopting other people's thoughts about you, they are becoming your thoughts. So in this video, we learned that there are 5 powerful reasons not to get stopped by all the spiritual noise of other people's thoughts and things like that. There are 5 ways to do it. Be your natural self. Be your best natural self. Honor your spiritual time. Invest energy where it counts. Stay in your spiritual lane. Don't worry about other people's emotions, and only your thoughts about you matter. Okay? I got to say this before I close, so we're going to go ahead and close. Before I close, I'm going to say the whole I don't give a fuck attitude, like, I don't give a fuck, that's still people pleasing. That's a cope. That's what people do to cope with the fact that they care so much about what other people think that they're going to pretend as if they don't. It's like the same thing with the girl that's obviously wants a piece of cake. And when you offer it to her, she says, oh, no, me? I couldn't. it's a cope, and I've done that myself, and I got deliverance from that today, in a wonderful call with one of my mentors. So I was broken free of that, because I the old version of me was doing that, and today I was liberated from that. I thank God for it. So anyway, don't get caught up in any of that stuff. Free yourself. This video is not about being Billy Badass. It's not about that, or about being a curmudgeon. It's about being your most loving, natural, God-guided self. That's not stopped by the opinions of other people. So if you enjoyed that, this video is going to be posted later. Just drop a like or whatever, comment. Like I said, my name is Dr. Dr. Lemuria Limsai, but people call me Merlin Sai. And in 2010, the Most High shattered my false identity. He showed me who I was and have always been, and I've never looked back. And so I got the brilliant and beautiful opportunity to reclaim who I am, to become that confident, clear, loving, and lit with divine insight person that God made me to be. And that's how I wrote, Hey God, Wake the Fuck Up. It's to help the chosen, help the children of the Most High God connect with God in a raw and natural way. Now, I hold space nowadays. I hold sacred space, where I create the space where God speaks to his chosen. And this is not for the gummy worms. This is not for the light workers and the the victim-minded, lily-livered gummy worm types that are like white light spirituality people. This is not for them. This is for those who remember who they came from, who remember who they are, and are not afraid of the darkness. We're not afraid to face the shadow. We're not worried about Satan. We realize he's got a job here. He's going to do his job, and we're not going to worry about it, right? So, as a child of the Most High God, as an apex human, we are here not to chase heaven, but to create it. We are rebuilding God's kingdom. We are reactivating the golden age in human history. So if that is you, if you remember that mission, welcome home. Thank you for watching. I was about to leave, but somebody's got a question here. Apex, I was wondering where your stream went. Thank you, Teague, for joining. Servant of Christ. We are closing this one. I'm going to post it on the back end. This was just about how you can overcome people pleasing, and it's one of the ways that there are 5 ways, and I talked about it, but I'm going to post the video. And by the way, drop in the comments below, what is one thing that you do to people please that just cuts you, that you're like, oh my goodness, I cannot keep doing this. I can probably put out one of the things I used to do. I don't do this anymore. If I saw an attractive girl that I thought was attractive, this is one thing. I would like fem it up. I would become more feminine so I could be more approachable and safe. And that was a way of people pleasing, so she wouldn't think I was a creep by trying to talk to her. Oh, he's a creep by trying to talk to me, this and that, because that was a fear that I used to have. And now I don't have that fear anymore, because I'm myself, child of the Most High God. I mean, I enjoy talking to women, and they're beautiful and attractive. Let me just go talk to them. So that has changed for me. That was one thing that I changed. Yeah, that was one thing that I did. So was there something that you did to people please that got in the way of what you really wanted in life? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds while there's one other thing that I did. I'll talk about what I do now, because I used to stay in places that were not for me, and it used to destroy my spirit. And I just left. I stopped doing that stuff. I feel like just let's see. Yeah, I feel like just turning myself into a lustful and sinful person to fit into groups can be a way. Yeah, I love that. That's a good one, Teague. That's a great one. That's a great one. A lot of times, people pleasing is not always going against the grain. Sometimes, I mean, often it's like exactly what you're talking about. Like everybody is being super lustful and very sexy driven. And you're like, yeah, no, that's not my gig. I'm more into a long-term relationship thing, or I'm like looking for that one person. And so that's a good one. That's a really good one, Teague. That's something that a lot of people struggle with, because I guess there's like culture changes, right? But God stays the same. God doesn't change. God doesn't go, oh, everybody is doing this now, so let me just go and do that now. No, God isn't like that. God is definitely the leading edge of evolution and of life, always the leading edge, but God's nature of harmony never changes. And so that's a beautiful one. That's a good one. If it doesn't align with you to be super lustful and all that stuff, just don't do it. Be yourself. Love yourself. God made you perfect the way you are. Anybody else before I jump out of here? This is a really good topic, guys. Thank you, Teague, and thank you for those questions. Those are good questions. And I talked about the I don't give a flip or I don't give a fuck is what people say, but I don't give a flip attitude. That's a people pleasing attitude too. There are a lot of people going around like, I don't care. I don't care about what they think. And that's people pleasing too. It's just like it's a reactive, responsive thing. It's like a self-protective mechanism. We are at the core, we are our natural, loving, God-guided selves are a beautiful thing. And that's what the golden age was made of. It was made up of godly people. The golden age was made of godly people, and that has been corrupted. In the Bible, it talks about this, and the Corpus Hermetica talks about this, how men and women lived with integrity in the golden age, and there was honor and respect and responsibility. All those things, they were just part of who we were. We didn't have to try. It was just, you woke up in the morning, that's just what you saw in the world, and that's just who you were. And so when we strayed away from that, religion became corrupted. All of that stuff became corrupted. So, yeah. But thank you guys for joining. This is the space where God speaks to his chosen, guys. Get out there and be Apex. Be your best selves. Don't worry about pleasing people or any of that. Live with integrity. Be your best self. God knows your heart. God knows your spirit. God loves you. God accepts you. Don't worry about everybody else doing that, because you can't control their thoughts. You can't control how they feel. All you can do is what God has put you here to do, and to do that with love, with integrity, with respect, with righteousness. You're going to be fine. A lot of people are going to be offended by that. That's okay. Stay Apex. God bless you guys.